Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be discussing few topics under the unit 1 of Human Anatomy and Physiology 1. So the first topic is introduction to the human body, where we will be discussing the definition, scope of anatomy and physiology, the various levels of structural organization and body systems, and few basic anatomical terminologies. So first let's start with the definition of anatomy and physiology. Anatomy, physiology. Here, ana means upper. Tomy means the process of cutting. Similarly, physio means the nature, logy means the study. So these are two branch of science. These are two branches of science where one is the science of body structure, other is the science of body function. So anatomy is the science of body structures, whereas physiology is the science of body function. It tells how the body parts work. Any organism starts with a cell, because cell is one of the smallest functional unit of the organism. So cell is a single. If the cell is divided into groups, if there are group of cells, it is called as tissue. If there are various types of tissues included, various types of tissues, then it is called as the organ. Various organs together form a system where it contains the number of organs and also the various number of tissues. So different body organs have different structures, different functions. For example, let us take example of alveoli, alveoli of lungs. Alveoli of lungs is generally useful for, if this is the alveoli and this is the membrane out of it, this is useful for exchanging the gases. Simply the transfer of gases will be there. So the layer should be very thin. So the wall will be very thin in case of alveoli of lungs. Similarly, if we take the example of heart, heart is generally used for the pumping of the blood, and that is happening through the help of blood vessels. So here the wall should be highly muscular in order to pump the blood through the blood vessels. These are few examples. Now let's get into the next topic, which is level of structural organization. Totally there are 6 levels of structural organizations. In that, the first one is the chemical level. First one is the chemical level, which has small atoms, group of atoms form molecule, So this chemical level has atoms and molecules, especially some kind of elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, sulfur. These are all essential for maintaining the life. So some familiar molecules like DNA and glucose is also present in this chemical level. Now the second level will be the cellular level. Second level is the cellular level. So in the cellular level, a group of molecules together they form a cell. So cell is something which is a basic structural and functional unit of an organism. That also contains chemicals. Now coming to the third level. Third level is the tissue level. Tissue will be formed when group of cells are together. Group of cells together, they form a tissue. So generally, if this is a tissue, if there are some molecules or materials which are surrounding the tissues, some materials which are surrounding the tissues, this will be functioning together. This will be functioning together. So that is called as the tissue level. There are some basic types of tissues. There are 4 types of tissues. So the first type is epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is something that covers the body surface. It covers the body surface. It is also useful for lining the hollow organs. It is useful for lining the organs. It is useful for covering the body surface. It lines hollow organs, cavities, and also used for forming certain glands. Now the second tissue is connective tissue. So simply CSP. It is used for connecting, supporting and protecting the body organs by distributing the blood vessels to other organs. Now the third one is the muscular tissue. Whenever this muscular tissue gets contracted, it will be making the body parts it helps them to move and also help them to generate the heat. Now the fourth type and the last type, it is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue is useful for transferring the information from one part of the body to the other part of the body. That too with the help of a nerve impulse. So it is used for transferring from information from one part of the body to the other part of the body with the help of nerve impulse. Now let's get into the fourth level. In the fourth level, it is called as the organ level. It is called as organ level. Different here in the organ level, we have different types of tissues. different types of tissues, they are joined together to form an organ. Different types of tissues, they are joined together in order to form the organ. So they are actually composed of either two or more different types of tissues which are having the specific functions and also specific shape. For example, bone, heart, liver, lung, etc. could be the examples of a different organs. So if we take stomach as an example, let's take a stomach as an example. Let's suppose think that it is a stomach. Okay. So we are having one of the outermost covering. So this outermost covering is actually made up of the epithelial tissue, and also it is made up of the connective tissue. So both these will be useful for reducing the friction. Similarly, inside this we also have some three different deeper layers will be there. Inside this we also have some three different deeper layers. In that, the one of the innermost layer will be made up of the epithelium. This is the inner layer. And we also have one smooth muscle tissue. This smooth muscle tissue will be useful for, it will, whenever this gets contracted, it is useful for churning and also for mixing the food. Once the food gets churned and mixed, it will be pushing it into the digestive organ. So what will be the digestive organ? There will be small intestine. It pushes it into small intestine. So this innermost epithelial layer, this is generally used for, it also contains certain fluids and chemicals which will be useful for the digestion of the food. So this is the organ level, and this is an example of an organ level, which is a stomach. So the fifth one is the system level. So in the system level, to know the system level, let us take an example of digestive. Because we have taken stomach as an example, let's take the digestive system as an example. So system level tells about a particular system, how is it functioning. So here we are taking the digestive system. Let us suppose think this is a person. Okay. Generally, system level contains each and every organ. For example, this is mouth. Here we will be having some salivary glands. So system level, particularly if we take the digestive system, it contains all these elements. It contains all these organs together, is called as a digestive system. After the salivary glands, we have a pipe which is called as pharynx. Similarly, if we come down, we will be having the liver will be there. Then we have the pancreas. We'll have the stomach. We'll have the gallbladder. Then it has large intestine. Inside we'll be having a small intestine. So this is completely the digestive system. In the system level, we will be reading about the digestive system, about that particular system, what are the organs involved in it, and how do each organ function. That will be known. Coming to the last level, which is the organism level. Organism level. What happens in the organism level? Here, it has almost all the parts of the human body that will be functioning together. That constitutes the complete total organism. That is all about the levels of structural organizations. Let us see the various body systems which are present in the body. Let us see what is the system, how is it made up of, and let us also see its function together. So the first one will be the skeletal system. Skeletal system is generally made up of bones, and its main function is to give protection. And the next system is muscular system. Muscular system is made up of muscles, and it is also made up of some tendons. When these muscle and tendons, if they are attached to the bones, that forms a muscular system. It not only gives the shape, but also it will be giving the ability to move. It will also allow that particular muscle to move, and also it gives the shape. Then the third one is the nervous system. Nervous system, generally it controls and coordinates the functions. It controls and coordinates functions of different parts of the body. Then we have the circulatory system. Circulatory system. This is useful for supplying the oxygen, supplying the nutrients to different parts of the body. And it also used for removing the waste from the body. Then we have the respiratory system. This will be removing the carbon dioxide, and it supplies the oxygen. Generally, this respiratory system has two main organs, which is lung, and the other one is bronchi. Then we have the digestive system, which we have already discussed. That is useful for digestion, for food intake, absorption. Everything will be happening in that. Then we have the seventh one, which is the excretory system. The word excretory, the name itself says that it will be removing the waste from the body. So the organs which are responsible for removing the waste are the kidneys, large intestine. It can be through the skin in the form of sweat, or it can be through the lungs. Then we also have other system, which is endocrine system. In the endocrine system, it will be producing certain chemical substances, and these chemical substances will be useful. They will be releasing certain endocrine glands. This endocrine system has some endocrine glands, which are nothing but the hormones. They will be useful for regulating this process of producing the chemical substances. That is about the endocrine system. Then we have the last one, which is the reproductive system. What happens in the reproductive system? Basically, the sexual reproduction will be known in detail. So these are the different types of systems that are present in our body and their basic function. In the further classes, we will be reading in detail about each one. Generally, the body is basically divided into 4 cavities. One will be the cranial, other one will be thoracic, third one is the abdominal, the fourth one is pelvic. These are 4 cavities of the body. Now we are done with the introduction, with the definition, levels of structural organization, its systems. Now we have to cover some basic terms that are used for the anatomical description. So basic terminology, we'll see. So first one is superior, second one is inferior. This superior, it is also called as cephalic, it is also called as cranial also. Inferior is called as caudal. Superior means it is the upper part of the structure. It is the upper part of the structure. This inferior is the lower part of the structure. But how do you remember this? Superior is someone who is in a higher position. So it is upper. Higher position means it is upper. Inferior is someone who is in the lower position. So it is lower. For example, here heart is superior to liver. Stomach is inferior to lungs. These are first two. Now the third one is anterior. Fourth one is posterior. What is anterior? Anterior is at the front of the body. At the front of body. This is at the back of body. At the back of body. Anterior is at the front of the body. Posterior is at the back of the body. For example, breastbone. Breastbone is anterior to heart. And similarly the posterior one, esophagus. Esophagus is posterior to the trachea. Now let us see the fifth one, which is medial. Other one is lateral. Medial is something that is nearer to the midline. It is near to the midline. Lateral means it is far to the midline. Then we have intermediate. Means it is in between. It is in between two different structures. For example, if you take the transverse colon, it is intermediate to the ascending colon and descending colon. So lateral means it is far from the midline. You can take the example, lungs are lateral to the heart. And in the medial, you can take the example, ulna is medial to the radius bone. Then we have ipsilateral. What is ipsilateral? Same side of the body as the another. Then contralateral is opposite to it. Ipsilateral and contralateral. Ipsilateral means it is same side. Contralateral is something which is at the opposite side. Ipsilateral is at the same side of the body. Contralateral is at the opposite side of the body. And again for the example, for contralateral, ascending and descending colons, they are contralateral. Descending colon and gallbladder, they are ipsilateral. Next we have proximal. Another one is distal. Proximal is something that is near to the origin. Near to the origin of a structure. Distal is again opposite of proximal, which is farther to the structural origin. Nearer to the structural origin, farther to the structural origin. So for proximal, humerus bone is proximal to the radius bone. There is humerus bone that is proximal to the radius bone. Similarly, distal one is the phalanges. They are also called as the finger bones. They are distal to the carpals. Carpals are nothing but wrist bones. This is the example for distal one. Then we have the last two terms. So that is superficial, and the other one is deep. Superficial means it is something towards the skin surface. Deep means it is something towards the, it is not towards, it is away. It is away from the surface. This is towards the surface. Deep is the away from the surface. Similarly, let's take an example. For superficial, ribs are superficial to lungs. Coming to the deep, ribs are deep to the skin. These are some basic terminologies. If you like this video, please like, share, and do comment.